Welcome to another episode of Tales from the Book. I'm your host, Soon Yu, and I have my incredibly gifted co-host, Mr. Dave Burrs. Today we are actually sharing a story that I have fond memories of because my son actually read this story during our book launch party. Mr. Burrs, to you. Can you do as well as my son?
I doubt it. I'm sorry, Brendan. I will try. Okay. 7 years before Ray Kroc opened his first McDonald's restaurant, Harry and Esther Snyder, a pair of quiet newlyweds, opened In-N-Out Burger in Baldwin Park, California. They had both served in World War II and were keen to start a small business that would help support a family. Their stand was tiny, barely 10 square feet, but their focus on authentic local quality was big. Harry's approach to ingredients was more like a five-star restaurant than a fast food joint. As any good chef will tell you, the quality of a dish is defined by the quality of the ingredients. So every morning before dawn, Harry would do his rounds of the markets to pick up the freshest ingredients for the day ahead. Then he'd cook them with care in his cramped little kitchen in full view of his waiting customers. He wasn't trying to be all things to all people. His menu was astoundingly simple. He prepared only a few things, but he did them really well. This approach to quality became the In-N-Out signature. It made the business stand out and quickly built a strong reputation. That was the start of its noticing power. Even today, nearly 70 years later, the food is still prepared in front of you. You can see people cutting the potatoes, slicing the onions, and preparing the lettuce in plain sight. It's simple and honest. And that approach extends to the way the owners conduct their business. They've never floated on the stock exchange. They've never franchised the brand. They've barely even touched the original menu, even though they've added a secret menu for those in the know. Their family-owned approach reinforces not only the food's authentic local quality, but also the company's staying power. This forms In-N-Out's brand DNA and is the very soul of its iconic brand language. This strategy has really worked for it. A few years ago, San Francisco granted the owners permission to open a restaurant in the historic Fisherman's Wharf neighborhood. No other fast food brand had ever been allowed to do so. This was simply because In-N-Out reflected the family-owned, authentic aesthetic that the area sought to protect. Interestingly, the owner's approach to scaling power has run counter to what most people would expect. They've not opted for the explosive international growth that most successful companies go for. Instead, their approach to scaling power has been slow and steady. This reflects their family-run values as opposed to the profit-is-everything approach of big business. Their unwavering focus on quality means they will never open up a restaurant more than 300 miles from one of their existing food stores. As a result, you can still find stores in only 6 states. But their small-town approach doesn't mean they have small-town profits. Revenues are currently more than $500 million a year, and the company has an estimated value of just over $1 billion. And all started with a burger shack smaller than the average garage. Mr. Yu, you love these burgers. This is one of your favorites, isn't it?
It is, mainly because I think they're very authentic in terms of showcasing how they make it and how fresh all the ingredients are, and it's a perfect balance of that. Being able to see that right before you eat it, both see it, smell it, all that sensory, right, is incredible anticipation. In fact, I think In-N-Out is probably the epitome of the least fast food burger in the world, because the typical wait time is probably 15 to 20 minutes from when you order to actually when you get the burger, because one, they do it in series, first in, first out, and they usually have queues that go outside of the restaurant, and if you ever go through the drive-thru, you'll know what I mean in terms of long queues. Yet, because people have that consistent experience and they know how it's done, they're willing to make that wait.
And you have goaded me many times by eating an In-N-Out meal while we've been on the phone to each other just because I can't get hold of it over here.
That's true. During our collaborations, Dave was in London, I was in California, and oftentimes to gain inspiration and obviously to satiate my hunger, I'd be chomping on an In-N-Out burger and say, look at this burger, look how iconic it is, look at all the signature elements that have made this burger the way it is. And you're absolutely right. A lot of the credit of this book goes to that burger. So I hope we made you really hungry, and next time we will talk about more burgers, okay? Thank you, Dave.